You like him? It's 2020. Yeah.
Orlando City colors.
I wouldn't say that.
Feel free to.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
We good to go?
Camera's all good. All right, questions for Brad?
Do you have any say on who the new goalkeeping coach is going to be?
No, I mean, I've had conversations, but ultimately that's up to the front office. I think we've got a good group of goalkeepers, have a good understanding of each other, how we work, how we go about our business on a daily basis, push each other and make each other better.
And any just thoughts on Aaron's leaving?
It's a great opportunity for him, obviously, with the national team. Hopefully still get to see him, some bit over the next couple of years. But, it's a great opportunity. When you look at what that position actually is, it's the highest position in this country for goalkeeping coaches. And so he gets to be the top dog, and he puts in the work, he fully deserves it. I think he's an excellent goalkeeping coach.
And were you okay with the team's decision to not allow you, Miles, Brooks, Barco, for example, to not participate with the national teams in this camp?
Listen, it is what it is. It's not a FIFA window. I understand the club's point of view. Of course, it's always an honor and a privilege when you're involved with the national team, when you're in a training camp, something like a January camp, when you are together for a significant amount of time, you're able to get a lot of work done. So unfortunately, we do miss out on that side of it. But I also understand, like I said, why the club said no and what we're trying to do here. It's important that we maximize every day, that we are together here to make sure that come that game in Honduras, that we're ready.
How was the break for you? Did it seem long?
Yeah, it's after the first couple of weeks, you're almost itching to get back into the swing of things and get back to doing things, but it was also nice to spend time with the family. So that part was good. But like I said, after a couple of weeks, you're ready to get going again.
It's got to happen over the next month to get you guys ready to go to CCF.
I think, we want to make sure that the cohesiveness is there, the understanding. Obviously, Mesa comes in, some new faces. So it's important that we understand each other, understand what we're trying to do as a group, understand how we're trying to play as a group. So like I said, every day that we're together here at the training ground, we have to make sure we maximize that time to put the work in.
Right, this time last year, you guys were coming off of a championship. Obviously, ended kind of a little bit bitter last season. Is there any difference in the mentality kind of this time around?
I wouldn't say there's a huge difference. No, I think we understand that last year, wasn't good enough, and we fell short of our goal. I've always said that this is a club that wants to be a winning club and a club that competes for trophies and titles, and we want to be the best, plain and simple. And so last year we weren't, and this time last year, we understood that the championship year was behind us, and we had to roll our sleeves up and do it all again. Fortunately, fell a little bit short, but going into this year, same attitude, same mentality of we want to win. We want to win everything that we're involved in. We want to win every time we step on the pitch. It's about winning games.
Is there an advantage? Do you feel like there's more familiarity because it's second year Frank, or is it all shaken up because of the guys in front of you being new?
No, I wouldn't say it's shaken up. I think when you go away for a bit of time, come back, it's smiles and, high fives and all that at the beginning, but then slowly you get into the thick of it. For us, when you only have a few new faces, the smiles last for a couple of minutes, the high fives last for a couple of minutes, and then it's competitive and it's intense and it's fighting and knowing that when we step on the field, training pitch or game match, a game field, it's about winning, about competing and battling. So I wouldn't say yes, it's second year under Frank, but for us it's trying to get his messages across to us, but also all of the players understanding what we're trying to do.
Brad, 2017, you guys make the playoffs. 2018 win the championship. 2019 is new technical staff, so a lot of change. But like you said, you guys still won trophies and got to a final. How do you really early on define 2020? What does this year look like for you guys if last year was one of change?
A couple training sessions, really. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, every time you step on the field, like I said, we want to win. So, you know, I'm not one to sit here and say, yeah, we you know, all the specifics and the ins and outs of what it's going to take. Every year, a new year presents new challenges. Every year is a grind. You know, you like I said, you're trying to get guys on the same page as quick as possible. It's still probably a little early to answer that, you know, fully. But it's certainly a time now where we want to make sure that you get guys fit, you get guys understanding how we want to play. You know, it's only been a session or two, and we need to make sure we don't we jump too far ahead of ourselves.
You're very active in the MLSPA. How would you describe the likelihood that the CBA is going to be negotiated and finalized by the start of the Champions League?
I don't know. We'll wait and see. You know, those conversations are ongoing. Yeah, I know speaking throughout the off season with the players, with the lawyers, having meetings, getting guys together in DC, and making sure everyone's aware of what's going on. Those conversations from our side have been very good in terms of being unified and understanding where we're at. And now, you know, the plan I know going forward will be to sit down with the league and have those conversations with them.
When will that be?
I'm not sure exactly.
But I mean,
Can't give you too much information, right?
I know y'all are unified and you're clear on your plan, but from what you're hearing from the owners, does it seem likely that this is going to get done? Or is there still too big of a gap in the buckets of money? And
No, I hope so. I hope it gets done. You know, we'll see how the next couple of weeks kind of play out.
As you look at the prospects of this season, what excites you the most about this team, and what might be the biggest question you have?
I think the most excitement and the biggest excitement is the fact that, kind of what I alluded to earlier, that every time we step on the field, we want to win. So we want to be a club that competes. And going off of history, last year 2 titles, lost in you know, conference final. You know, we do compete for things, and so that part is what drives us as players. You know, I saw a quote from, I think it was Odell Beckham. You know, he said, you don't play the game just to show up and play. You plays the game to try and win a Super Bowl, regardless of what team he's on, and that's what we do. We show up and we try to win games to put us in a place to get to the playoffs, to win MLS Cup, to win US Open Cup, Champions League. That's what it's about. You play professional sports to win, and so that's the biggest part that excites me. And in terms of what worries me, at the minute, nothing. We only had 1 training session, so it's happy days. You know, obviously as preseason goes along and trainings go along and preseason games come along and Champions League starts, new concerns obviously arise, and you look to deal with those and try to solve those problems as they come along.
Are you going to be better than Browns?
I hope so.
You're quoting Odell Beckham.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right, to those young guys that are here now, do they realize the standard and the expectations that this club has?
I think they're slowly starting to. I think when you sit down and have conversations with them, it's easy to talk and understand, you know, yes, we've won an MLS Cup, yes, we've won a US Open Cup, and everyone talks about us being a big club on the outside, but when you walk through that front door and you step out onto the training pitch and you realize the intensity of training, it's day one, and you realize how intense it is, the demands that are put on the players, the standard that we've set for ourselves, it's a bit of a different story then. It's a bit of an eye-opener for them, and that part is trying to help them along. But at the same time, you know, you can only hold their hands for so long. These guys need to come in and try and contribute to the group, help the group, and you do that by training and playing and earning the respect of your teammates.
Would you like to be captain, replacing Parkhurst?
I don't know. For me, that's just that's something that you put on your arm. I think when you're at a big club with big players and important games are on the line, it's not down to one guy. It's about everybody having a line of communication with the coaching staff, everybody having a line of communication with each other, and understanding what we're trying to do as a group. When you look at what Parkey obviously had done for the club, and I don't think anybody will ever replace his boots. But in terms of the personnel that we have on the field, I don't think it's down to one guy. I think it's down to everybody taking responsibility, communicating, and playing a part in having a leadership role.
Brad, Leandro was part of the MLSPA as well as he was a team representative along with you and Jeff.
Yeah.
He leaves a bit of a hole for Latino players, but being an international player was important that he was there. Can you talk about just his influence in the short time that he was involved, like what he added to that, like the type of voice that he gave?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was his ability to obviously, fluently speak English and Spanish and relay those messages to the guys that we'll say don't speak English that well. So, that part was huge. But in saying that, I think somebody like Joseph and his understanding of what this league's trying to do, he's been great in the first couple days in terms of making sure that whether it's Fernando, whether it's, guys that English isn't their first language, he's helping them to understand what's going on and what's happening with that. So that part has been really good.
Within the MLSP, there are other Latino players involved, like Diego Rubio.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bedoya is there. So,
For sure.
They are well represented.
No, definitely. Those messages and what we're doing as a group are constantly being translated. Our lawyers, we have someone on staff that is fully, fluent in Spanish, and so those messages are constantly being. Whether if they're being translated or just being directed to them directly, that part is really good. So not a concern whatsoever.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Good.
For Brad,
Thanks, guys.
Frank and Joseph, and if you